So it is the part 3 for lecture 1, and we are continuing with the topic of research methods in psychology. So in order to test our hypothesis, we have different options that what kind of research methods we want to use or which is appropriate to be used. The first one we are studying is experimental method, and first we need to understand what are variables. Variables are phenomena whose value changes from one person to another. For example, our depression is a variable. Its level changes from person to person. Anxiety is a variable. Its value also changes. Intelligence is a variable. Similarly, gender is also a variable, dichotomous variable. It has two forms, male or female. So everything that changes its value from person to person, it is called a variable. So if you want to see a relationship, cause and effect relationship between variables, means what variable causes the other variable, then you have to choose the experimental method, okay, because it is the only method that tells us about the cause and effect relationship between variables. And you might recall that in your chemistry experiments you had to control all the conditions. You have to maintain the temperature to a certain level. You have to control the volume or the amount of the chemicals to a certain level. And similarly, you have to be very careful about the timings of the experiment, or timings for which a chemical has to be treated. So same is the case with the psychological experiments. We have to control a number of conditions. That is why experiments are very difficult to carry out. It is a very difficult research method in as far as psychology is concerned, because human behaviors, human traits and qualities are very difficult to be artificially created in laboratory, and to control the conditions. So you will find this research method is very much, we can't say rare, but it's certainly its frequency is very much lower than other research methods in psychology. So in experiments we are dealing with two kind of variables, independent variable and the dependent variable. Independent variable is the variable that is causing the other variable, that is causing an effect on other variable, and the variable that is being affected is called the dependent variable. Okay, so for example, if there is if our hypothesis is that violent video games cause aggressive behavior in children, cause aggressive behavior among children. So here playing of video games is the independent variable, whereas aggressive behavior is the dependent variable. Then we'll make two groups. For one group we'll make them play violent video games, and we will call this group as experimental group. And there will be another group of children who will be playing neutral video games or no video games. Okay, so all the children that we have divided into two groups, all these children will be randomly allocated to both of these groups, so that because if there are all females in experimental group and all males in control group, then there might be some previously occurring conditions on which the children might be differing, and this is not because of the effect might not be because of the video games. So we have to randomly randomly put the children in both groups. For example, randomly means that each child had an equal chance of being selected either in the experimental group or in the control group. So how would we measure aggressive behavior? We'll have to pre-decide this. We'll be measuring aggression if the kids physically hit other, or if they verbally abuse another individual, or even if they break the things or items or hit their own selves. Okay, we have to define before the experiment that how are we going to measure the variables. Okay, and there is a lot of statistics in psychology. You will be reading statistics as a course in the coming semester, because there is in order to analyze our data, okay, whatever the scores you will be getting from the kids, you have to analyze them using different statistical techniques. So when it is not feasible for us to perform an experiment, we look for other study methods and research methods, and one of those is correlation method. Correlation method tells us the relationship between two variables, but keep that in mind that it does not tell us about the cause and effect. Okay, it just tells us that the two variables are related. When one increases, the other also increases or decreases with it. Okay, if both the variables increase at the same time, we say that it is positive correlation, and if both the variables are decreasing at the same time, if both are increasing or decreasing at the same time, it is called positive correlation. But if one variable increases and the other decreases at the same time, it is called a negative correlation. But if the change in one variable does not have any effect on how the other variable changes, it is called a zero correlation. The value of correlation might range from -1 to +1, and -1 is highly negative correlation and +1 is highly positive correlation. Usually the value ranges actually the value of correlation ranges in between these 2 points. So here is a graph that tells us the relationship between two variables. Okay, for example, here is the level of let's suppose this is the level of depression, and this is the level of poverty. So as the poverty level increases, the level of depression is also increasing. Okay, the line of the graph is moving from lower left side to the top right corner. Okay, similarly this graph is showing a negative correlation. Okay, so let's suppose this is the level of depression and this is the level of self-esteem. As the level of self-esteem decreases, the level of depression is getting increased. Okay, so if this is the depression, let's say depression and so this is level of depression and this is the level of intelligence. We see no correlation between them. There is no single diagonal line that can tell us about any relationship. Okay, this is zero correlation, this is negative, and this is perfectly positive correlation. Negative correlation, it ranges from top left corner to the bottom right corner. So keep that in mind that correlation does not tell us about the cause. Okay, it just tells us about the relationship. It tells us that when depression increases among people, the level of poverty is also seen to be increasing. Okay, these two are related. It does not mean that poverty causes depression or depression causes poverty. Okay, so this is not cause and effect relationship. Cause and effect relationship can only be established in experimental method, because in experiment we ourselves create a situation. We took a group of children and divided them into 2 groups, experimental group and control group. One group we made them play video games, and the other group we gave neutral or no video games. Okay, so we manipulated the variable, that is the type of games the children play. Okay, it was independent variable and we manipulated it. Okay, so that is why at the end of the experiment we can confidently say that when we compare both groups on the level of aggression, if the experimental group was high in aggression, we can confidently say that it is because of the video games. Okay, so there are some other ways also. For example, observational method. In observational method, we directly observe the behavior of other people and then we make interpretation of that behavior. There are certain rules and regulations that we must follow in order to observe the behavior. Similarly, survey method is done when we are having some questionnaires with us and we are finding out the opinions, feelings and attitudes of other individuals about a certain phenomena. So that is a survey method. In case history method, there is a single person who is the subject of our research, and we get a very detailed information about him, his biography, all the happenings in his life, all his developmental history and everything. Similarly, you can also do type of research which is called literature review. Literature review, in literature review, you write a review of almost all the research articles, research work that has been previously done in the particular field. Okay, for example, you want to uh, research about aggressive behavior in children, and you will collect all the research work that has been done in the past 10 years, and then you will write a review of all those research articles. It will be a literature review. It can be of two types. One is narrative and the other is meta-analysis. In narrative review, you just describe the previous researches and discuss their strengths and weaknesses. But in meta-analysis, it is more systematic, it is more scientific, because it uses statistical techniques. It uses statistical techniques to compare all the previous research work done, and hence gets a conclusion about, gives some concluding remarks about the results in that particular field of research. Whenever you are going to conduct a research, you must abide by certain rules and regulations, and similarly you must take care of, you must also write, even in your research report you have to write the ethical considerations that you have followed. For example, there should be minimal risk. There, because of your research, no animal or no human should be endangered in any way. Similarly, you should get a willingness of the participants. You should tell about the aims and purpose of the research, and the whole procedure of the research, and you should take their willingness before the research is being carried out, and they should be told that they can withdraw from this research at any point if they don't feel comfortable. And similarly, their data and their personal information, the opinions they provide, they should always be kept very secret, and they should not be revealed to anyone else, and they should only and only be used for the research purpose. Sometimes we have to perform experiments that need to destroy the animal brains and etc., because to kill the animals, because we can't perform those experiments on humans. So or we should always justify why are we killing animals. Our research is that our research that much worthy that we have to kill animals? And we should also refrain from any harmful tools or procedures to be used in the research with animals. So that is all with our first lecture, and you are welcome to ask all the questions. If you have any queries, please do post in the comment section, or you can put them in the, it's better to put them in the WhatsApp group. Okay, so definitely I'll respond to your queries, and good luck.